Since the inception of this video idea, we've been through a lot. Thick and thin, mostly thick. Disaster, heartbreak, and there were times when I felt like just giving up on this video idea. But something pushed me through it all. Something that pushes me through everything that I do. Hate. A burning hatred that never dies. You aren't asking because it's the title, what is this video about? It's about Hazbin Hotel. I'm addicted to the... I can't see. Hello? Whatever. It's a bag. I waited months for this to get here to make this video. It's called Dedication to the Bit. You can see my Mickey Mouse shirt. Okay, so what is this video really about? I've seen the Hazbin Hotel pilot twice now, and every time I see it, I get filled with a burning rage that cannot be quenched until I talk about it. Now you may ask yourself, if I hate it so much, why have I seen it so many times? The answer is that me and my friends have a warped sense of humor that subjecting ourselves to things we don't like is funny because our brains are just empty up there. It's just tumbleweed and stale air. Now, when I'm talking about this, I don't want to stoop to the level of personal attacks or, about the creator or the community. This is purely a look at the content of Hazbin Hotel. Just by making this video, I know that it's going to be probably the worst dislike to like ratio I've seen on my channel in a while, because every time anyone has made a video criticizing Hazbin Hotel, the people take it upon themselves to smash that MFing dislike button and break through the windows with rocks and beat down the doors and beat the people inside. Now, for those who don't know, Hazbin Hotel is an animated pilot that is going to be turned into a series created by animator VivziePop and a team of voice actors and other animators. The premise is that hell is overpopulated and that the princess of hell is trying to create a hotel that will rehabilitate sinners so they can go to heaven, therefore solving the overpopulation problem. In theory, it sounds pretty interesting. I'm sure there's plenty of comedy gold there and wacky adventures waiting to happen. But there isn't. Now, obviously, this is just a pilot. They can't show everything. But the show is really confusing. Okay, so there's musical numbers. Now they're singing. Okay, now they're battling. They're fighting. Now they're fighting. Okay, now they're stopped. Now who's the? Why are they doing? Honestly, most of the screen time is weird battles with characters that you don't have any investment in, and so it's just sort of boring. And they don't really use the main premise of the show that much. One of my friends said that the hotel almost seemed more like a home base for the characters instead of a main focus of the show, which it's named after. You'd think that maybe the pilot would show the struggles of making a happy hotel in hell in the first place, or maybe what their plans are on rehabilitating sinners or anything like that, but instead we just get introductions to characters that all seem to be just plays on stereotypes. And I'll get more into characters later, but let's just say I never really felt like they were moving the plot forward. Stuff sort of just happened. And even with such a weird plot, there was no joke or twist or plot point that I was ever surprised by.
Wow, that was shit.
And the jokes, if you could call them that,
Harder, Daddy.
ha! Sex. It's raunchy like an adult cartoon, but then not very witty and really blunt like a kid's cartoon. In fact, there's a lot of shows that I can tell Hazbin Hotel takes a lot of inspiration from that are way more interesting. And that, I think, is what's most confusing. It's marketed as not for kids specifically, but none of the characters of the story are interesting enough for me to see an adult actually watching this and finding it interesting. Of all people, I definitely know how hard it is to reconcile the fact that you have a portion of your audience that's young. I grapple with that problem all the time, and just by making this video, I assume that some kids are going to stumble across it. I'm not saying that they should censor their show to make it kid-friendly. I'm saying you should have more faith in your audience if they're adults. I'm sure most people could tell that Alistair is a big, powerful, evil guy without having a monologue halfway through the episode while he's right there. Wait, what? I'm addicted to the... Okay, let's talk plot. Honestly, this would have been a lot more interesting of an episode if it had been made maybe 11 minutes, but instead it's dragged out to 30 minutes. Charlie, the princess of hell, and her girlfriend Vagatha are trying to pitch their idea of a rehabilitation hotel on the hell news.
Love is an open door.
It doesn't go well because their only guest is literally killing and shooting and bombing and exploding and screaming and seconds after she pitches the idea. And who is this guest? Their name is Angel Dust. Charlie and Vagatha pick up Angel Dust, and they're very mad at him, but Angel Dust seems pretty indifferent about the whole thing.
I'm gonna kill him. Too late, Toots. Wait! Would that make me double dead? Where exactly do I go? To double hell?
What? That's so funny! Indifference is about 30% of Angel Dust's character in this show, with the other 70% being sex.
Jokes are funny. I made you look, sad. And pathetic.
Here we have Angel Dust describing the jokes in the show. I do want to mention something about Angel Dust's comment here.
I'm gonna kill him. Too late, Toots. Wait! Would that make me double dead?
He says that because they're already in hell, they can't kill him, so they're stuck with him. But they're literally mad at him for killing people in hell. And when you look into some more of the lore of the story, the apparent bad guys of the show are these angels that come in and wipe out a bunch of people in hell to solve the overpopulation problem. But how do they do that if you can't die in hell? How can they be doing anything wrong if you can't kill anybody in hell? So why are they mad at Vagatha is also mad at him for committing genocide, which I also don't think is the right word for this, but still. And then we get to the really boring part of the pilot, where they talk for a really long time. Wait, I don't get it. Oh! Sad. We learn that Charlie's dad doesn't really approve of her hotel project, and then we get a new character. Bill Cipher. And as I mentioned earlier, everything about Alistair's character is revealed in an extremely long and unnecessary monologue. It would have been more interesting and intriguing if they had just had you sort of figure out slowly about Alistair's backstory instead of giving it in a long monologue. But why do that when you can have
I would have done so already.
Darkiplier. So Alistair wants to help Charlie with her hotel because they couldn't think of a good reason. So he's just doing it because...
And what can you do, my effeminate fellow?
I can suck you.
There's a final fight scene where Alistair obliterates some guy from earlier in the episode, but it doesn't really matter because we already knew Alistair was big and powerful. So what the point of it is, I'm not really sure. Maybe they should have removed the monologue and just included this part. So now that we know about the basic plot, let's talk characters.
I'm addicted to
The main cast includes Charlie, Vaggie, Angel Dust, and Alistair, so let's talk about them one by one. Charlie is the main character. That's pretty much it. It's never really clear why she wants sinners to be good. I mean, there's a whole overpopulation thing, but that's already being solved by the angels that come down and wipe people out, so why she wants people to be good, I don't know. She's almost a carbon copy of Anna from Frozen, honestly. Except Anna's probably better because she had this side of her that, you know, didn't let people talk down to her and she was more assertive. And Charlie just sort of lets people walk all over her with no repercussions. Vagatha angry. Ugh. She's Charlie's cynical girlfriend who is just sort of annoyed all the time and has tacked onto that the very annoying stereotype of speaks in a different language, but only when swearing. I mean, I'm not the first person you should come to when it comes to, you know, talking about representation in media. I mean, look at me. But I feel like we should probably expect more from representation in media than just angry swears in Spanish. Her character tries to get Charlie to stand up for herself, but Charlie is such a human sidewalk that she doesn't ever listen. She just lets people continue to... Alistair is pretty generic. He just has this sort of gimmicky voice.
Well, I'm starved. Who wants some jambalaya? My mother once showed me a wonderful recipe for jambalaya. In fact, it nearly killed her. You could say that...
He's the evil guy who's helping the good guys, although they never give a good reason as to why he's helping them. It's about, you know, watching people fail, but even with how much of a human doormat Charlie is, I think it's pretty clear that Alistair would only be helping to sabotage them. So why Charlie makes a deal with him, I don't know. holy shit. This is the most iconic character of the whole cast, and not because he's particularly interesting or cool or he looks interesting, but just because he embodies the show. He's boring, unfunny, and unbelievably horny. He's actually so uninteresting and unfunny, the only reason I can think that people actually like him is because they're just horny for Spider Guy.
Everyone wants some of me, and I got the creepy fan letters to prove it.
Now, the concept of a porn actor in hell trying to grapple with playing nice could be interesting, but it isn't. He's basically just a well of unfunny sex jokes that I guess are supposed to be personality traits. I guess the joke here could be that sex jokes aren't funny, but then what the funny part would be, I don't know. I don't think there is one. I think it's just more of a mask for people to watch him say
Harder, Daddy.
over and over again and be like, because it's funny. Also, his naming conventions are literally just Scooby-Doo. Scooby's named after Scooby Snacks, Angel Dust is named after Angel Dust. In a more general sense, all of the characters just look the same. They have the same body type, color palette. They almost feel like just different versions of the same character. My favorite example of how confusing and similar they look is this image. Some examples of shows that have made really recognizable separate characters are Phineas and Ferb, SpongeBob, Gumball, and considering this show takes place in hell with demons, the ability to go wild with the character designs is right there. It's right there, you can reach it. But they don't. And Alistair is just the guy from TikTok.
Feel like making a deal with the devil?
Here, I just want to talk in a more general sense about a couple things that bother me. There are so many Ed, and Eddie sound effects that play throughout this.
Makes you think a single denizen of hell would give two shits about becoming a better person.
Now, the idea of adding sound effects to an adult cartoon show could be interesting and add some interesting personality, accentuate some jokes, but they're just so loud and there's so many of them that it really just is unwatchable. And this is coming from the guy who loves cartoon sound effects. One other thing I wanted to point out is that all the characters have Instagram accounts. This is actually a cool idea, sort of like how the Gorillaz cast does, but it's just really odd searching through it, and because not a lot of them have very much depth to them, it's really weird. I do like this caption though. Someone ain't think I was the real one. Fucking okay then.
I'm addicted
to the madness. I'm gonna suffocate. Addict is the recent song and music video that came out in the Hazbin Hotel universe. I don't want to comment on the quality of the song necessarily because that's not something I really know about and that's all subjective really. But I do want to talk about the music video and the message of the song, or I guess the lack thereof. Now, as it warns at the beginning, there are depictions of sexual harassment in the video, but it really takes up like 1 second of the video. 90% of it, Angel Dust and Cherry Bomb are literally just singing about giving in to the indulgence of hell. I'm addicted to madness. Which I guess could be like, the trying to showcase the two sides of the coin of hell, the indulgence and then the abuse, but they don't really expand on that or talk about it. They're just like, there it is. And even that is kind of a stretch considering how little they actually say, despite it being 5 minutes long.
This hotel is my Atlantis.
What does that mean? Honestly, the song is a perfect encapsulation of the pilot. A long, drawn-out, sort of unnecessary show that isn't really saying anything about the things it's talking about. Not that every piece of content needs to have some deeper meaning, but when you're talking about real things like sexual abuse and, sex workers being taken advantage of, you're kind of expected to handle it with a little more care and nuance. Instead, it's just sort of these nothing statements. And I know I said I wouldn't talk about the community, but I can't really see Hazbin Hotel improving on this because its audience seems to be people who aren't much older than 16 at the oldest. And so these sort of nothing statements that aren't really deep seem interesting to them. Also, I can't get over this sign that's in the music video. It's just a sign that says drugs on it. I guess it's about as subtle as everything else in the show. I just feel like I wish there was a better version of the Addict song, just a better version, but It doesn't exist, so oh well.
This is a certified hood classic.
Always felt isolated, always felt alone, till I found the show. I'm a Hazbin ho, Alistair, the radio demon, sing songs while I sleep in that hotel's where I wanna be, and I'm addicted to Hazbin, got me higher than heroin. All the characters look the same, they remind me of me. Cannot wait until Hazbin gets on the TV. Love the shit, even though they all look the same. Watching that pilot was magical like David fucking Blaine. And don't get me started on my no obsession. Damn, shoddy looking kinda fly. Catch me like a spider, catch a fly. Even though they already died. Longest legs reach to the sky. Double the arms and that blacked out eye. Guess it's just cause I'm a Gemini. Wanna untie that bow tie, get tongue tied. Get that meat pie, what do you spy? I see me and my special spider guide. I'm addicted to Hazbin, got me higher than heroin. All the characters look the same, they remind me of me. I cannot wait until Hazbin gets on the TV. Ay, yeah. I love that I know what's gonna happen before it does. I always hated surprises. And I love that the pilot is dragged out to 30 minutes cause I've got nothing else to do with my time. I love that Tom and Jerry sound effects play over every scene. Didn't want to hear what they said anyway. Saw someone giving constructive criticism, dislike bombed the shit out of them. I'm addicted to Hazbin, got me higher than some Xans. My teeth are falling out and my skin has turned gray. Hope when I die on the other side is my spider day. I hope anyway. Most of my life is built around this show now. Haven't left my PC in about a week now. EXO breaks up, said so through text. Said she didn't want to see me in this mess. I wouldn't read it for another 15 minutes. I'm halfway through my 800th run of the pilot. Yeah, hey. My life has been ruined, I live on the street. Only things I have left are this show and this beat. Angel Dust got me high just like his namesake, but it was too late because now there is no escape. Yeah, I think I'm dying, I think I'm losing life right now. Really? I hope on the other side is that hotel. It is. I hope I find that Hazbin hotel. Holy shit, hell is actually like this. Oh my god. I don't want the takeaway from this to be, Hazbin Hotel is bad, or I don't like it, so you shouldn't like it. I think the takeaway should be that if they can make this 30-minute pilot, they could at the very least write it a little bit better. And I do hope it improves, especially since it got picked up by A24. I mean, I'd much rather have good content in the world than bad content. But even then, I probably wouldn't watch it because most of my life at this point is just listening to podcasts and playing Tetris, but I'm addicted.